Okay, so today is the strategy class, so I thought we'd go over improving your pieces, which can mean a lot of different things. It could be finding your worst placed piece and trying to find a better square for it, which, okay, when we're talking about knights, usually we're looking for an ideal square, some nice outpost where they'll be really good and your opponents won't be able to trade for them. When we talk about bishops, we're talking about finding good diagonals, rooks, good open files. And we'll get right to it so you can kind of see the first one. We'll jump into this position right here, if this is the first one. So this is a game between Raphael Vaganian versus Vladimir Akopian, not Varusian Akopian, who's lectured here 70 times, but Vladimir Akopian, so no affiliation to the club. And in this position, we'll show you the first couple moves that were played in this position here. And now black adopted a setup with b6. The idea is to put the bishop on b7, play moves like a6, b5, and ultimately c5 to open up the diagonal for the bishop. So that's what white is playing for. So white found a way to stop him from doing that. So after a few more moves here, the bishop voluntarily went back to d3 with the idea of going to e4. That's one way to prevent c5 because now there's a pin. And after this move, we'll stop here for a few minutes. And it's a little bit different when you're doing sort of a strategy puzzle than a tactics puzzle. Because when you do a tactics puzzle, there's one right answer. Sometimes there's multiple, but a good tactics puzzle has one right answer. And it's either a winning move or a losing move. And so you get the instant satisfaction when you solve it of, okay, that's the correct answer. Well, for these, there may be more than one move that doesn't truly change the valuation of the position substantially. But it is worth trying to figure out what moves they came up with in the game. So in this position, white found a way to remaneuver one of his pieces, and he found a good square for it. So we're not looking for like some huge tactical blow. It's not bishop takes g6 and checkmate. It's just sort of a slower maneuvering type puzzle. And so I've showed it to two of I guess they are the two highest rated other instructors that we have here that work for the club. And they both came up with the same answer here that's just wrong. So I'm looking at the class A and B players to give me the first wrong answer here.
C5 eventually.
All right, excellent. So yeah, the answer, what was your first move again though, sorry?
The knight tour from F3 to D2 to B3, landing on C5.
Okay, so this is sort of your idea?
It seems long. A little
Which is sort of the right idea. C5 is the square that we're looking for. I wonder if there's some way if you move this knight for me to take advantage of the fact that now this guy is not defended.
B3, does B3 not? Well then.
Because now I'm attacking this.
Knight B3, but now the knight can get into C4 easily, or you can just kick it right.
Yeah, so if I get to play A4, then I'm looking pretty good. So this is sort of the right idea, but this is not our worst placed piece. If we look at all the pieces individually, it's the right idea, but not the right piece. This guy has a useful job here.
How about the knight to back to B1?
Excellent, yeah. And that's what was played. Knight to B1. Yeah, so a subtle retreat, and after that, you make your way to C5. I'll show you the mistake that was made by our fellow instructors here. They had the idea of moving the bishop, so say bishop to B1, with the idea of going to D6, which would be an excellent square, except for you've allowed black to play the move C5. And if I play C5, your center falls apart, because I'm taking here, and then this guy becomes weak. So you'll never get your knight to D6. And even if you do, I'll have some tactical tricks, like knight takes, and then queen takes your knight, etc. But OK, we've hit upon the right move here, knight to B1. Also, we have a threat now on c6. We got 2 pieces attacking it. Otherwise, you may have time to play moves like a5 and a4. But since we gain a tempo by attacking the c pawn, after you defend it, knight to d2. And we're on our way. And OK, the game continued as such. And here, white has a slight but evident advantage. He didn't allow his opponent to play c6. And black will have to spend some time trying to get rid of this pesky rook. He's going to play moves like this and move his queen. But so out of the opening, white got a slight advantage. Obviously, not as quite as satisfying as a tactical checkmate. But these are the kinds of slow maneuvers that I think people really struggle to find in their own games. So people are always saying, what should I do in the middle games? And it's strategy, it's planning, it's improving your piece. Here, the knight. OK, he looks kind of good on c3. But what is he really doing? He doesn't seem to have much of a future. Obviously, c5, a much better square for the knight. OK. And we'll go to our second example here. And if you're just joining us, we're doing puzzles where we improve our pieces. So it's sort of slow maneuvering tonight. And in this position, it's black's turn. And we'll show a few moves so we can get an idea of the plot. After h5, white played a4, planning to restrict the knight over here. And after king h7, he also plans to restrict the knight on f6. Which is a good idea when you have more space. He's trying to cramp all the black pieces, so black runs out of moves. But now, black went back. White is thinking perhaps of making use of the h-file. So even though we just went to h7, now that the h-file is open, makes sense to retreat. And now after a5, we'll pause here for a few minutes. And we'll give you a chance to see if you can improve your position, improve one of your worst placed pieces. And I will ask first, which of your pieces are not very well placed? That's a good way to start. OK, so correct. Yeah, the knight on d7. He's not looking too good. He doesn't have a huge future, or so it would appear. Anybody else? Yeah, the bishop. Yeah, so we got 2 bad pieces here. Yeah, this guy, he's not bad. In the future, hopefully we'll get to double on the C file. So yeah, at the moment he's not the best. So I mean, you might be thinking just some plan like this. But OK, white can also contest the C file.
Do you want us to give you like a plan, or?
It's a plan. Yeah, it's about formulating a plan.
Okay.
It's it's not some winning move, and it's not just one move. It's really a plan. All right, queen c7 with the idea of going to c4. OK, presumably I'll put one of these rooks here. Let's go with this guy. And then you wanted to go here? That was your plan?
Yeah, and then double on C5.
All right. And you're leading with your queen. So maybe in the future I'll be able to use this square. I'll get an attack on your queen, and I'll be able to use one of these squares, or I'll just not move my knight.
I have a suggestion.
So not quite.
Just for the sake of argument, can you please try rook takes c3?
Yes, this is a tactical possibility that does work in the position. And you see the follow-up?
Knight takes d5.
Yes, excellent. And if I take, which I don't have to,
Yeah.
you play here with a discovered attack. And so yeah, when I first saw this was one of the things that I thought about. And white has to play the right move here. Yeah, so it's quite good that you found this. And then I thought, OK, well, the queen has to move somewhere, and we take this rook. But there's actually this move, which should lead to an equal position. You can attack the queen. I can go here, and you can either trade first or take this guy. And the position is actually equal. So this is a very good solution. In the game, a more strategical solution was found. I'll give you a hint as to what happened in the game, because obviously there's knight h7. And OK, we'll give you white's move, and you see the idea?
Yeah, bishop f6, g5.
Excellent, yeah. bishop f6 to g5, getting rid of the bad bishop. And so this game turned around pretty quickly from this point. Things should be pretty level here, but after this, White quickly made a few mistakes. So in this position, a very nice move here by Black. Bishop f4, just creeping in. Now the g5 square is available for the knight. And okay, White probably didn't lose with this next move, but he made it really difficult on himself. He traded the bishop, which is strategically rather dubious because now the knight jumps into e5. And suddenly, Black has a tremendous position. As long as you don't get forked on b6, then you're doing pretty good. So here, all of a sudden, it's Black that turns out to be better. So he went from slightly worse to better, just with the idea of getting rid of one of his poorly placed pieces, which is another thing that you want to do with your pieces. When you have a bad piece and they have a good piece, he's controlling some really nice dark squares here, particularly b6. You can try to trade it because this guy isn't doing a whole lot for you on g7. So excellent. Any questions about this one? All right. So this is the game between Eugenio Zapatos and Edwin Bend from Venice, 1953. And so here, Black decided to play on the queen side, and soon they locked up the position. And now a4, or a5, excuse me. And then after a few more moves, Black is trying to prevent White from ever playing moves like a4. And after this move, we will pause. And so again, we're looking for a plan. So it's not just a single move or a sequence of moves. It's a plan to improve the position for Black. Okay, we've identified this guy. He's there to prevent a4, but yes, obviously we got a lot of pawns here on light squares, so that's very good. The idea that was played though was very nice, and this was something that happened to me in a game. So the way I was able to search for this puzzle was I remember I was playing a game against Priyadarshan Kanapan, who comes to the club regularly, very strong IM. I'll probably be a GM pretty soon. He played this maneuver, and once he played the first move, I thought I was doing well, nice equal position, kind of like this or whatever, and then he played one move, and I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So I quite like this idea. There's a whole bunch of plans that do make sense that you could come up with. I'll show you what happened in the game.
Can you give us a hint first?
Yes.
Because this one seems really tricky.
It's very tricky. It has. Tell you what piece it is? Okay, it has. Everybody so far has been. Okay, here's the hint. Everybody's been playing so far on the king side, but Black actually has a way to improve on the queen side, which is.
The side has more space.
Yeah, the side has more space. Did you see that coming? Did you see that coming? What is it?
Knight d6.
This is the most suggested move, and it's okay. I can play here. The point is now, even if your bishop comes back, you never really have any good place to go. And then I'd hate to tell you what the best move is over here, because then I'd be preventing the threat that we haven't found yet.
Fair enough. Yeah, give us another minute then.
So if you take immediately, okay, I mean, we can share the A file. I don't mind sharing.
The knight still has nowhere to go.
Knight still has nowhere to go. Okay, so we're quite preoccupied with this knight. But okay, how can we? So this is the right idea. We would love to be able to take here, but the problem is we're sharing the A file. We don't want to share.
So you bet over first.
We want to
Then
triple
rook.
you.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So what's the first move?
a7.
Okay, 6.
Rook A6,
And then swing the other.
and we can open the A file anytime we want. So we can just build and build. We can triple on the A file, which is a very powerful plan in this position. And okay, indeed, White sort of conceded that he has no chance, and he got off the file because okay, really there is no chance. We can triple up, and you get into trouble. And now, simply by taking and dropping the rook in, black is much better.
You need to do this lecture every day.
Every day do this lecture? Yeah, I might just do the same puzzles. All right, what's up, Blaze? You coming in? You got your panda? You want to come sit in the front? Do you want to watch the class?
Good, and that whole plan makes sense to justify.
Where do you want to sit up here, right in front of the camera? If you sit over here, you can see the big screen. Yeah, you can sit right here, right up in the front. In here, black could play the simple move g6. And okay, he came up with a sacrifice that's okay. He decided to sacrifice here, which is also good for black. He could have played simpler. He kind of made it complicated, but he did go on to win this game. So with that in mind, we'll jump to our fourth puzzle.
That was a closed French.
Let's go. Let's check it out. It was actually a Dutch.
Really? Wow. Yeah, I mean, French can transpose to Dutch, yes.
So this is sort of how
I
he.
mean, but this is French skeleton.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's the French pawn structure.
Yeah.
And we got the move f5 in.
If it's a French, how did black win?
How did black win? French is good. Okay, so now I think we're on this one. Okay, now this one is very, very nice. I quite like this one. It's a very beautiful idea. This is a French. This is truly a French. It's a winnower. And here, black played the move b6 with the idea of playing bishop to a6. Bishop to d3 is sort of the typical thing. So white had a way to counteract this attack here. After bishop b5 check, he interfered with black's plan, and now he drops back to d3. And sort of an important move here, bishop to a4. So not only do you have sort of the idea that at some point we can play c4, and if your queen goes away, okay, you got to worry about this pawn, but also you're preventing white from playing a4 himself, which he tends to do in these positions. He plays a4 and bishop to a3 and gets some pressure along that diagonal. So that's typically how he can gain a little bit more space over there. So this just prevents that idea altogether. And after h4, he has some aggressive intentions. Let's not castle. Instead, h6. And after here, he pushes the bishop away. And now we pause. And at the time of this game, this was a novelty. This was the first time this idea ever occurred on the board. Now it's become a part of theory. So if we have any winnower specialists in here, perhaps you know this idea. This position has occurred now in more than 100 games. So we're still in opening theory. But okay, the idea is quite beautiful, so it deserves to be shown. Yeah, and if you don't just know it right off the bat, it's quite difficult to conceptualize this. But if you imagine picking up your pieces and putting them on ideal squares, then perhaps you'd be able to find this move.
So, I guess there were like three things I was considering, but probably king d7, queen g8, queen h7, and then
Wow.
d2.
Wow, very good.
Oh my.
Very good.
Very nice.
Yes, king d7 with the idea of queen g8 and queen h7, which did indeed happen. Fantastic stuff. Yes, fantastic stuff. So here, he defended with the rook.
Actually, I've never seen a play this variation.
You play this variation? Now you know. You play it as black or white?
Black.
You play it as black? Now you know. Yeah, this is a big maneuver. And now again, there's more ways to maneuver his pieces. This also is a nice move. The bishop comes here. In the future, it might go to b5, even more pressure on the queen side. And now the rook is prepared to swing over either to g8 or f8. And he's going to start opening up the king side. And so, okay, black is just controlling all sides of the board here. In the game, he went to f8. And pretty soon he was able to open up the king side. And okay, he has a good attack because he got all of his pieces over there. So, and again, it's not rewarding when, okay, you didn't just instantly win. But it's just that the very idea of moving the king out of the way and swinging the queen all the way over to h7 is very pretty to look at. So
King's very cozy on b7.
Yes. Yeah. Perfectly safe in the center because it's so closed. Unless you're Mike Kummer, you're really worried about this pin, but there's nothing there. Sure. Yeah, we can go back. We can take a look at the whole opening here. Okay, so we got the winnower. So this is still the main line. And then you do funny stuff here. Don't you do like funny stuff here? Is it here?
You know, I started
Yes.
I started playing the Poison Pawn line, and then almost every game I played with it.
Oh, I love it as both sides. Yeah.
I've been playing Queen A5 though a lot.
Okay.
Queen what?
Yeah, Queen A5.
And the idea is you put the queen on A4. And
Yeah.
you're doing the same sort of thing.
Yeah, you can do this. So like in our game, the bishop went to A4, but you can also put a queen there, and it's kind of annoying. Okay, so here's how we got to this position.
It was funny. I played the French a lot, and I've never seen B6.
Yeah, I mean it seems typical enough, because you want to just trade these bishops,
No, I just wanted to
But-
that like it's an opening I played a lot of.
and you just haven't seen that idea.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, that.
Yeah, it's not the most common line. It's not the main line.
Suggest
The
we
thing is-
cover this.
Yeah, Queen C4 is the.
Mm-hmm. But this isn't chess openings explained, so we'll try to.
Does anyone play the classical French anymore?
Okay, so now,
Very popular.
all right, getting a few more people in here. Okay, so this is the game. This is our last example here for the day between Darcy Lima and Francisco Jose dos Santos. It was played in Brazil in 2001. All right, and in this position, White played A5, and so suddenly we see that the king side has been shut down. So the queen side's been shut down, so all of the action is going to happen over on the king side. So White quickly began to prepare his troopers over there. And okay, this also could have been part of the maneuvering lecture. Okay, we bring our knight back over to where he's in the action. And now it is sort of a waiting game. We can play, at some point, if White's going to make progress, he's going to play the move F5. But we can also just do nothing for a long time, keep the position equal. And at just the right point, the only pawn break left is F5. So and it is a 2,500 player playing a 2,200 player. So presumably he's thinking about winning here, and he's a little bit better. He has more space on that side. So they played a few more slow moves. And we'll pause here. This is the last example. And we'll see how would you guys improve the position. And again, I'll give you a minute, and then I'll ask you first which is the worst placed white piece, and then we'll see if we can find the solution.
I think.
I would disagree. He's supporting that F5 plan. That F5 right?
Yeah, the knight is not bad. And we're going to play F5 at some point. So that seems like the right square for the knight.
I was thinking of getting the knight to F4
You're going to get the knight to F4?
somehow, yeah. But
Somehow? Well, okay, you're going to go here, sack a pawn, and then go here.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
You meant you were just going to take it?
I will play A6.
I was speaking C.
As black, you just play A6?
No, as white.
As white, you'd play A6?
Yes.
Okay, and it might take that eventually.
So it's white's move now?
It's white to move. And so here again, we want the plan. We're looking for, and in this case, it'll be a bit more satisfying because it is sort of a winning plan. Because we're obviously much better in this position, just how are we going to make progress?
Play the knight C2, A1, B3, and then C5.
Okay, so you're trying to put your knight here on C5.
What I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Okay, which, not a bad plan at all. This should be perfectly fine. Yeah, it's a good place. It doesn't help with the F5 push, but okay, you are putting some pressure here on the E-pawn, so certainly not a bad idea. And it would be even funnier if he did this, having already done this. Then it would be funny.
Really?
Yeah, we could do all this. We could go right back. Yeah, we could go right back.
Okay. Maybe I wouldn't have
You-
thought that if I saw the boom before.
All right, so I'll ask, what do you think White's worst place piece is in this position?
King.
The king. Yeah, so we're trying to play F5, and then the king side will open wide up. So you can imagine if we just went for it a bit hastily, And when you take here, there's going to be some pressure down the G file. So, okay, let's just pick them up. Let's pick them up. Where would we want to put this guy? Because yeah, B2 or B3. Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, the king goes on a walk, and he ends up on B3.
Wow.
We got plenty of time. There's no way for black to make any progress here. He's just waiting. So white has all the time in the world. And there goes the king. There he goes. Okay, and black is just waiting. And you'll notice white is very, very, very patient in this game. Because why not? You got all day. So also we have to worry about this weakness in a lot of lines. That'll be significant. So here, okay, a lot of slow moves. All these moves are fine. It doesn't change the evaluation. Both sides are just kind of waiting. We attack the H pawn. And here we provoke you to play the move G5. So now we push. And now white, once again, will very carefully reposition all of his pieces. So, okay. And we're just waiting. White is very calm, very patient. All sorts of waiting. And this is funny too. Okay, now that the file is going to open up, maybe some heavy pieces are going to be traded. Maybe I'll even get my king a little closer. All right, I'll come back. All right, now it's a bit safer. And we know which file is going to open up. We know some heavy pieces are going to be traded. If there's an endgame, maybe I want my king a little bit closer. And now black takes, which you shouldn't do anything. Although white is ready to play here, which is pretty good for him. And he must play this at some point. He's just probably going to wait close to 50 moves. And you might as well, because maybe your opponent will do something. And if doing something is wrong, then you should wait for your opponent to do it. And so eventually it happened. And black tried to do something. And okay, now we have 2 pawns with which we can push forward. We'll just show the end of the game just because it's nice. Okay, there's 2 ways to take. But let's take with the pawn. Now we have lots of passed pawns. This is trouble. And okay, this also was a nice finish here in this position. We want to be able to push our G pawn, so we need to get the queen out of the way. And here black resigned. Once the queens come off the board, 3 passed pawns is going to be significant. We're going to start pushing this guy, and we're pushing all of our pawns. So black had enough of the torture. It really was. You were just getting tortured there for the last 20 to 30 moves. Okay, so a very impressive idea. And it's worth noting that even your king can sometimes be improved, especially when one side is closed and the other side's about to open. It happens occasionally too in the king's Indian defense. As white, your king is on the king side, and perhaps the queen side is closed, and you're about to launch an attack. But before you do that, maybe you have time to run your king all the way over to the other side, assuming your opponent has no way to make any progress. All right? All right, so that's it for the examples. But we do have a little bit more here. So we have a game that was sent in. It's been nice. I've been kind of inundated with requests lately. I got about 20, I'd say, this week. So last week we went over some of them. It wasn't filmed, so sorry if that was you. I'm trying to get to all of them, but you can keep sending in your requests to info@stlouischessclub.org. And I'll try to take the best ones, the most instructive ones, and show them here. Yeah, I can't do all the requests. This one comes all the way from the Netherlands, from a guy whose name I hope is pronounced Gijs, but I have no chance. I don't speak Dutch. It's Gijs. He said some really nice things. He wrote like mountains of paragraphs, which is funny. Everyone from every other country, like when it's a foreign country, they write like all these paragraphs and all this nice stuff. And then like when an American writes it, it's like, here's my game, dude. Like, can you analyze this? It's like, so you know, when I see this, I'm like, oh, he must be foreign, which is excellent. We love it. I'll mention some of the things that he said. I wish to express my thanks for all the work that's been put into your YouTube channel. It's highly informative between the running jokes with props with Mr. Schrantz, the sarcasm of GM Ben Feingold, the storytelling of GM Yasser Sarawan, the enthusiasm of Mike Kummer, and the creativity Aviv brings to chess. There is so much to like. I could go on about all the others too, but let's end it with a special thanks to Ben Simon for all the great editing. Big props from the Netherlands. Okay, excellent. So let's see what I guess I don't have what he said about this game on my page here, but he played a game on Light Chess, and he said this was the highest rated opponent that he's ever beaten. So he's playing an opponent rated 2300. On Light Chess, Heiss's rating is 1900, but I don't know how indicative that really is of his rating. He played very well in this game. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look.
Do we know the time control?
I believe it was game 45. And he sent all these nice diagrams. Like,
wow.
This guy, he really tried. You got to really try. 15 minutes with a 60-second increment.
Typical. So,
and yeah, I think he also sent in a game. This was a second submission. He sent in a game that was like 45 minutes. So it is a longer game. He likes to think, I guess he likes to play a lot of classical time controls. So very good. We'll take a look. All right.
Which is he, black?
He's black. So we got the Pirts. All right. Not the opening that I would recommend, especially to beginners. You let white have as much space as he can desire. But okay, having seen this game, it's suited for players that like to counterattack. And now, the Austrian attack. So white's most ambitious and aggressive way of meeting the Pirts. And so we get some standard moves. And then there's huge bodies of theory for both castling and c5 in this position. In this game, he chose the move c5. And I believe it's here white already makes a very suspicious move. Sorry. So here e5 was played. And now a slightly dubious move. h4. You have this promising piece sacrifice in this line where you sacrifice a whole knight. So this has been played several times. It requires that black has already castled. So that is perhaps what his opponent was thinking, because that is a very aggressive way to play as white. But since we haven't castled, h5 and taking on g6 isn't really a big threat. And here I think black overreacted. He just played the move h5. I don't see any reason not to take here. h5 is not a threat. I just take your knight and I'm winning. And white doesn't even really have a great way to take back. If you take back with the queen, I play knight c6. I take on e5. Same if you take with your knight, I take on e5. And okay, I'm catching up in development. So I think if you just take here on d4, suddenly black is already better. But as it were, h5. And now white found a really strong, powerful move here. Very aggressive. e6. Yeah, this is a very strong move. So after we captured, there's a couple of good moves. But yeah, bishop to d3. And okay, knight f8 was played. Okay, so we're up a pawn. Obviously the c pawn can be taken, and okay, it feels pretty comfortable for white here. I think I'd quite like to have the white pieces. I'd get these guys out and castle queenside, and in the game, I think even in this position, white put his queen on e2. Perhaps more accurate is just to play bishop to e3. Occasionally, even though it looks dreadful, black can think about taking this pawn. So okay, I think it makes sense to have the bishop here, and I don't know, the queen might go to e2, the queen might go to d2. So I think it would be a little bit more flexible to begin by moving the bishop first. But as it were, he got his queen out to e2. And so again, I think there was a move I didn't like. I guess I'm just thinking about not getting checkmated as black. So bishop d7, and then queen maybe to a5, maybe to c7, and long castles. Looks like the safest plan for black. Instead, he played the move e5. Now, white has a lot of pieces developed. and black doesn't. And this, this sort of looks a bit clumsy. So it's white that really wants to open the position here. So I think in this position too, why did it stop? And white just castled, but I think also very reasonable is just open it up. Yeah, you want to open it up, I'll open it up. And obviously, we can take here a couple times, but yeah, I still quite like white. We have, good squares for this guy, and we're going over here.
Yeah,
Sometimes we're taking here,
C5.
and bishop c5. Yeah, it's just, that's just good. All right. But as it were, he castled. So, okay, obviously he's not worried about you taking on f4. That helps him develop his bishop. But so part of his point, though, of the move e5 was you get to get the bishop out. Okay, so he found a good square for his bishop. That's very good. And again, white should be opening everything up as fast as possible, because black is still at least 2 moves away from castling. So here, which is fine. But now he takes this way. He can get a much stronger attack after taking first here and then here, opening up the game as fast as possible. And okay, this again, okay, this would be a variation that also favors white. So he took this way, and black castled. Also interesting is taking here. I don't care so much about the pawn, but this actually is a good way to keep the position closed. So here I'm taking not with the idea of getting the material, but I'm trying to keep the position closed, and I'll castle queenside on the next move. So this also was an idea. Instead he castled. Okay, let's open it up. And I think white again missed a chance here. He played king h1, which is a better square. Now, I mean, nothing bad is ever going to happen on this diagonal. Like, I'm not going to take your knight and then fork you. So okay, it's a slightly better square. But after a move like bishop g5, white gets all of his pieces out very, very quickly. We bring our rooks to the center. The knight can jump in here. This is just good for white. So king h1. And all right, I think this was a very good decision. We can't just babysit the g6 pawn for the rest of our life. That pawn isn't very significant. Black needs to get all of his pieces out. He needs to prioritize development and coming up with a way with getting all of his pieces into the game. If you don't play this, then your rook on h8 is just kind of trapped out of the game for a long time. So I think this was a very smart decision. And we're looking at some pretty good squares here. We're going to go here. We can put a rook here, and we can go here. These are the sort of ideas that black has, just getting activity. So that's very good. He took. And rook h to f8. So this pin is moderately annoying. And after here, I think again black played an inaccuracy, but a decent move. In the game, his knight went to f4. But can anyone suggest a better move? Knight where? b5? d5? Knight d5 as black? Should I turn the volume up, Ben Simon, so you can hear it? You'd love it? All right, this is just for you. Oh, did you mean d4? e5? Yeah, this should be pretty good. Yeah, I think that's a nice active square. And also good is here, exploiting the pin. So yeah, there are some ways to exploit the pin and get a pretty good position here. And okay, his move is okay. I guess we can go a little bit farther. So now we are threatening in this position. We're to take here. We can take with either the knight or the bishop and then follow it up with rook takes. So if, say, you get out of the pin like so, okay, you got to stay where you're protecting f3. So this is the only place you can go without, dropping a pawn on f3. Well, now we take, and we play bishop to e5. And, I mean, queen g2, bishop h3. And if you push here, I can drop back. I can probably just take this. And I've really gotten rid of sort of my problems, and I don't think black has any serious issues in this position anymore. In the game, he went to f4. Not a bad spot at all. And okay, as white, I would probably move this bishop. I'm looking at this pin, but I assume any square that's safe is probably very reasonable for this bishop. But he took here, which is a mistake. And now, like a good Peertz player, black showed his tactical ability. So I throw it over to the audience now. This is a very nice sequence, the next few moves here. We'll challenge the audience. And perhaps black had seen this. Perhaps he was hoping white would fall for this.
You take on G2?
Take on G2? How could you?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just pointing out, if you don't know, then you're guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do a little guessing. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe in this position I have knight a4.
you can kind of take on F3 and then play queen H3.
You want to take on f3?
I ain't looking at it.
Yeah, he didn't even look at my move.
No,
It's a good threat. How did I see it? Okay, anybody else?
Knight takes bishop on d3.
Okay, and I assume I'll take this.
Then bishop takes knight,
Okay.
queen h3.
Okay.
And now
Bishop
Rook.
pins a queen on D5.
no. It's a bishop on the.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, we're
I'm
getting.
gonna play that. Yes, knight takes bishop.
Okay, so if I take back immediately, do you have something?
Perpetual.
You're gonna perpetual me? You gonna do this to me? Yeah. I mean, Danny Bachuka. Ooh, he finds that draw so fast. He couldn't wait for this.
Don't we have,
Okay, let's throw this in. And now here.
Yeah. It might still be perpetual or worse.
Okay. Yeah, because yeah, this.
Takes the pawn,
Yeah, this is
and then
not
the rook
good.
comes over and checks after it goes over to the E1.
Yeah. So if you don't want to go there, then you take this, and it's getting a little bit dicey. It's getting a little bit dicey. We'll return quickly to the game. There's, I mean, this is a very complicated position, and he did find the right move here, which is good. I mean, there's quite a lot of potential here.
He
So,
wasn't able to move the pieces like us.
and he couldn't move the pieces, and he didn't have a full audience to help him out.
So what was the move here?
Yeah, it's here.
So the move is first, we take on f3. And if you take back with the queen, which is the strongest move, then we take your bishop on a7, and you're borderline losing as white. In the game, he took with the pawn. And now we should be able to find the move here. Nah. All right, there's two good moves here, so you can say either one. If only somebody really brilliant walked into the room. The guy that always comes in with just the right answer at just the right time.
Queen h3 check.
Ah, Mike Comer to the rescue. You can also start with knight takes a7. The point is the same. Now the white queen is overloaded, so you can't defend here and here. And so black just won a piece. And making it a little bit worse on himself, he played knight to d5. And now a very nice tactical blow by black to really polish off this game.
Bishop d4.
Bishop d4. Excellent. And so now the queen is pinned, so I'm going to play queen to g2. And all right, so now the game is just over here. So this was the last move. A very nice way to end the game, and congratulations on
Many mistakes.
too many mistakes. Yeah, there was a lot of inaccuracies in the middle game. I think White had just the better position straight out of the opening,
Yeah.
and he didn't find a way to really open up the position as quickly as possible to really cause problems to Black. Black was able to get all of his pieces out. He made sort of the right decision. He didn't worry about his G6 pawn. He just got his knight out. He got all his pieces out. And okay, the tactics ended up working out for him. A very well played game. I think you should be quite proud of this one.
Especially for game 15.
Yeah, game 15, and okay, even with an audience this large and this high rated, it's still very difficult to navigate all of these complicated lines. And okay, very good job.